Yes, Sundaram, we can start.
Okay, so thank you. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever respective place you are watching this session. First of all, thank you so much for attending this event. Many of you may know about what is Talklify, and I would like to give you a little bit few introduction about our community, since we may have some few new members. So Talklify is a technical community organized by me and Suhas. We are primarily Talklify is primarily focused for Microsoft technology stack, and we have dedicated uh, uh, another community for Angular, which is called NG Kerala. So Talklify will be organizing events on every second Saturday of every month, and NG Kerala will be organized the fourth Saturday of every month. So the timing is 5 for NG Kerala. The timing is 5 p.m. IST to 7 p.m. And for Talklify, we organize on the morning time, that is 10 a.m. IST to 12 p.m. IST. So today we are organizing a Women Tech event. So first and foremost, I would like to thank our speakers, Hadshana and Smita, for accepting our invite. So the first session will be carried by Hadshana. So before getting into our session, let me give a little bit few introduction about our speakers. Uh, so, Hadshana, she is a Microsoft certified trainer and works as a system engineer at Loop One, which is in Sri Lanka. She provides technical training sessions on various Microsoft technologies like Azure and SQL servers. Likewise, she will be giving more training. And she's also an active community speaker from Sri Lanka, and she has more than 3+ of years of hands-on experience in the real-time projects by using the technology stacks like Microsoft Azure, SQL Server, cloud platforms, and all. And Smita, she is also a Microsoft MEP, a SharePoint professional with more than 12+ years of experience and a hands-on experience in large-scale projects. She's also a very good speaker. She also used to speak for various communities very frequently, including SharePoint Saturday, Global Microsoft 365 Developer Bootcamp, and many other community events. And thanks, Hadshana and Smita, for giving us a slot. And thanks for your valuable time to be a speaker for us. It's our pleasure. And unfortunately, today, Hadshana is not available, but she sent a recorded version of her session. So if you have any doubts, you please post in our comment section. We will pick that and send to Hatsana, and she will be replying back. So after some time, you can come and visit the same video comment session, so you can see the answers by her. Or else, at the end of the session, we will be sharing her Twitter handle. You can directly tag her about your questions. So let's start the session. uh, Thank you. Over to you, Suhas.
Hello everyone, good morning. Today I'm going to present manage Azure identities and the governance. Before we start the session, let's say about myself. I'm Hadshana Kamalanathan from Sri Lanka and Microsoft certified trainer and C# Corner MVP, and I'm currently working as the system engineer in the Loop 1, and I'm technical speaker and the blogger. So let's start the first topic, the Azure subscription. I want to go through the concept of the subscription. Now I added my subscription resource group, the picture here. Now I have the number of the resource over the here. Now the resource have the name subscription, means the which subscription they use, and the location. So this is the type of the resource, that's one of the Azure. They are all part of the resource group. So remember, the resource group is the used to logically groups your resource together. Please note that each resource need to be the part of the resource group. So when you go out and create the resource, it has to be part of the resource group. Next, you have the location of the resource. So where is the resource located in the all the resource? So where is the resource located in all of the resource? You also have to ensure that you mention what is the location of the resource. And then we have the something known as the subscriptions. Now for me, my subscriptions are part of this environment subscription. So the a subscription is the basically from the billing for your resource. So based on how much you consume, that would be billed against your subscriptions, and at the end of the billing period, which could be a monthly basic, what is the amount of due for the billing. So it is like any other subscription model. You pay for the service that you are consuming. You could pay for the service a monthly basic or the yearly basic, whatever you want. So for me, I have a something known as pay as you go for the subscription. It's a type of subscription. What it has done is that I have gone and read that subscriptions to a user friendly name of the test environment. So all of my billing for my resource goes against the subscription. So when you go and create the resource in a zero, you have to mention that resource group, the location and the subscription. Move on the next one. Uh, Now just look at the my all subscription here. So we have the create the couple of the subscription. You can actually go ahead and the rename it as well. I mentioned the before the user friendly name. So you can see that my test environment, you can see that. So you can see my the picture. There are three subscription, and including the current cost over the here. So I can see the current cost for the service I'm using the Azure. Now one of the main resource as you, why you would want to go and create the multiple resource as part of your account. Maybe you might have the different department in your organization, and maybe you want separate the billing for the each this department. Then what you can do this, that you can actually you can create multiple subscription for each these department. Now this is not only helps in the billing, it can also help in other, such as the controlling the permission of the resource, because all of the resource come under the particular the subscription. If I just go into the my subscription over the here, see, so I mentioned that you can rename your subscription, and other one is it's if you pay as you go. You want to, you can go and choose the pay as you go. So this is the name. The simply you pay based how much you say you want to support along with the subscription. In addition for the paying your resource the monthly basic, there will be also additional fee for that for the monthly basic as well. What for the fee you will get the extra support. So there are different sort of the offers available. So you have to pay as you go. You have the developer support and you have the professional, the direct and standard support as well. So let's see that the support as well. The next one is the Azure AD. Azure AD means Azure Active Directory. Okay, briefly I talk about the Azure Active Directory. So people who already know that they're familiar with the Active Directory, they feel more comfortable when they're actually moving on the Azure AD with. So now there are features available with this. So just go through the features. Now Azure AD is the identity provider that's available on the Azure platform. So in Azure AD you could define the three entities that could have the permission to the resource defined in the Azure. So you could create the user, the group of the user or the service principal. Now, what is the point of having the identity provider such as the Azure AD? So, let's say that you have the database in Azure. You have the virtual machine in the Azure. So, you have the resource you have identified. So, you have the resource. So, you have defined as the part of your Azure subscription. So, let's say that you have the database in Azure. You have virtual machine in Azure. So, you have the resource. You have defined as part of your Azure subscription. So, remember that when you have the Azure subscription, it allows you to create the multiple resource because the billing of those resources goes against your subscription. So that's from the billing part. But now access part. So how can users access the resource in Azure? How does user authenticate? How does the user authorize themselves to access something in Azure? That's where we come on to the Azure AD. So, so, so Azure Active Directory has the primary responsibility of that the database of the users, groups and service principals, and that user much as the myself can actually authenticate and authorize myself using Azure AD to access the resource on the Azure platform. Now when you create your account, you create free trial account or maybe you take pay as your subscriptions. You also get in the Azure AD tenant that's create for you. So there is the directory created for you. Now, so now when you create the Azure Active Directory account, you create the free trial account or maybe use the pay as you subscription automatically as part of the account. There would be the Azure Active Directory that created for you, and this subscriptions basically has the trust or in the Azure Active Directory. So if the user such as the myself wants to access the resource over the here, I will authenticate myself onto Azure AD. Azure AD, if it authenticates the user successfully, then it will tell the user subscriptions that yes, this user has the authenticate themselves. Then the user would get the access to the resource in the Azure subscription, and obviously you can have more down authentications with the help of the RBAC. That's nothing but resource based access control. So, so this is how the floor works. I just want to kind of the explain of in brief what is the Azure AD. Now, apart from the this just and the identity solutions, there are a lot of things that you can do with Azure AD. For example, for more secure access, you can able something no. For example, for example, for more secure success, you can able something known as the MFA. MFA means multi-factor authentication. That's the multi-factor authentication. You can see all of the sign. You can see the all of the signing. You can get audit the report. You can register the application so that you can have the service principles. So, in additions into the user getting the authenticate onto the Azure AD to access the resource, you could also have the applications using service principles to again access to the resource in Azure. So there is the whole list of the features which is the available in the Azure AD. The Azure AD. This is the Azure AD, just the concept. So yes, the Azure concept. So let's see the Azure AD pricing. The licensing when it comes to the Azure AD. So here Azure AD pricing. The licensing when it comes to the Azure AD. So here I am the documentation pages for the active duty the pricing. Now now you can see the different things are the available comes to the pricing of your the primary P1, P2, and including features and the Office 365 apps, and you have the lot of here. Now you can use the features that's available, so you get a lot of. Now you can use the features that's available, so you get a lot of that are available with the features. So you can the create your users. You can go out and create your groups, and you can go and give the access the users to your source as part of your Azure account. This is the Azure AD pricing. Now, now, now if I go to my account and into the Active Directory, so currently we have bought this a license for the Azure AD Premium, like the Office 365. Now, if I go to my account into the Azure Active Directory, so currently I have both the license for the Azure Active Directory for the Office 365. to actually you have to ability to Office 365. Uh, and you actually have to ability to write about the license as your premium pay to license for month. So if you go to the into the license over here, you can go there and click get the real the so if you go into the license over the here, you can go and click on the get the free trial. So over the here, you get the free trial for your premium P2. So you get 100 license that will be activate for the 30 days. That was for the 30 days of the over. You will not be the charge. So if you want to go and see how you prime, so if you want to go and see how your premium P2 works, you can actually go and use this free trial for your premium. Now, you do now since you have do you know since you have you will not charge. So if you want to go get and see how your premium P2 works, you can actually go and use the free trial for the premium. So this is the Active Directory, the licensing part. So let's say the another one, the roles, Active Directory roles. We are going to talk about the Azure Active Directory roles. So these are the roles that so these are roles that are the specifically mean to assign the permissions to the users only for the Azure AD resource. So, for example, if you want an admin user to manage the users in the Azure AD, there is the specific role meant for that. Now, some of the important roles which are there in the Azure AD. You have the global administrator. These are some permission for the global administrator. So they can manage all the features in the Azure AD. Can also assign administration's roles to the other users. They can also reset the password for the any users and all of the other administration. Then you have the user administration here. They can manage all the of the users and group, manage support tickets, monitor the service health, and also change password for the user and other user admins. And then you have the billing administrator. So some of the permission for the billing administrators are the making for the purchase, managing the subscription, managing and the support tickets, and monitoring in the service health. So this is the Azure Active Directory roles like the different way. This is the Azure Active Directory role. When you practice on the Azure, you will get more knowledge about this the process. So next one is the Azure monitoring part. Let's just look at the approach the Microsoft to take the monitoring and to take with the monitoring and the overview of the that. The first one is the monitor and visualize metrics. We have the ability to monitor the visualization metrics, and we are going to get into the metric in a bit more detail. But metrics, all these numerical values available from the Azure resource that help you understand the health, operations, performance of your systems. So that is the monitor visualize metrics. The next one is query and analyze the logs. We also have the ability to the query and analyze the logs and logs of the things like the active log and the diagnostic log, as well as from the certain monitoring solution as well. And there is the whole analytic query engine built behind in the Azure, the known as the log analytic there. So this that is the query and analyzing log. So the last one, setup, alert and action. We also have the ability, we also can set up the alert and action. So obviously it is the good that it is the good that so obviously it is good that we know what is going on in the environment, but sometimes things happen in the middle of the night. We want to be alert. We want to contact the page. We want to be alert. We want to contact to the persons and work somebody uh, or the call and the cell phones. So, or maybe we just want to the drop and mail off to the somebody to say something happened. So, what's our ability based on the triggers to make actions and notify the people? So next, so let's see the next one, the Azure Monitoring Architect. Let's look at the architect and little bit more detail. Well, we have all these resources on the left hand side. As you can see here, the applications, operating system, Azure resource and subscriptions, customers resource that we want to source from as well. And then we have all these metrics and logs that we kind of the filter in here, and then detect what we want to do with them. And we can see these the areas on right hand side, inside, visualize, analyze, respond and the integrate. So to begin with, you probably just want to look at the logs and metrics that you have. So we have got metrics analytic and log analytic, which I hope you go to the in future. It's very good service inside of the Azure. And then we also have the options to the visualize, so we can take some those of the queries from the log analytic, or we can just build a visual dashboard using some of the build like the tools there and create views, or we send it off to the Microsoft Business Intelligence platform, which can create the really rich visualization as well. And we also have the options of the insight. So this is the where Microsoft going to the step in future and create something monitoring solutions to give it the insight that they think you need to be aware from this. So they have the trained these models and they build them around the customer use case. So if you want to do more about the virtual machines or Azure communities, you can get more insight on that. And then and then and then on the other side, if we move if we move down, and then on the other side, if we move down, I'm jumping around a little bit here. We have that ability to respond to the alert, and that the turn allows use to the auto scale. So based on the performance of the machines, if it runs really hot, you you got the number of the users request coming. We can auto scales that the service up or down. And last but not least is our ability to integrate with the logic apps or to go to the API directly. So that means we have got this alert or some triggers happened. We want to do something. We don't just want to notify or wait until somebody comes and look at the dashboard. We want to do something with that information. And that's where logic apps and connecting to the external APIs are the so this is the monitoring architect. So the next one, the metrics. Look at the metrics and the little bit more detail. And you can see here the example of the metrics explore on the screen. So, so if you go into the Azure and you open your monitor and you look at the one of your service, you have the ability to browse through the those metrics that are the coming in. You can create the graphs and all the short of the things on that. But just to recap the metrics on numerical values that describable sum of the system and particular point in the time. So that is the CPU utilization. The CPU on the machines is that 90 percentage, they need the 85, they need the 92. Those points in the time and metrics that correct response with a reading that point in the time. They are the lightweight and they are the couple of the supporting near the real time scenario. And that is the key and that is the key because you are the running to the monitoring performance systems. Often you need to know in the real time when thinking the happen. We don't want to wait 5 the 10 minutes to know when something the already going in the wrong. Users are the probably already affected at the point. We also have the log, which like I mentioned that going into the log analytic or other resource, you will see the later. And the log contain the different kind of that data organized into the records. with different set of the properties for the each setup. So these could be things like the draw, lock, active, the logs, things like that. There are could be the logs coming from the operating system. The telemetry such as the event and stored logins in the additional to the performance data, so that it can all of be the compared for the analyze. So you can bring in that the performance data and combine it with the logs. So you are seeing a lot of logins from the certain system account, and it's some the performance issue there. So you can track back and say, okay, this is the system login and doing something that a performance issue on these machines. So the log analytic the really give us that is the ability to combine with the resource of the informations and get better insight that we can the unlimitedly control. So this is the metric. So this is the metrics. So the next one is the what does the Azure monitoring collect? So we have the all the applications, the monitoring data. This is data about the performance and functionality of the code you have the written regardless of the platform. So that's applications data we are talking about there. We have got the guest OS monitoring data. So this is the data about the operating system. So if you open up the Windows server or Linux server and you look at the logs and the event logs. For the example, in Windows, this is the very similar to that. Basically, we have the Azure resource monitoring data. So this is the data about the operations of the Azure resource itself as the subscription monitoring data. So this is the about the subscription, the health operation Azure itself. And then we have the tenant monitoring data. So this is the more about the Azure Active Directory, the tenant level service where the access and thing like that the control. So you can see the lot of areas from the applications of the underlining the Azure resource that are the supporting those items above the item around it, the Azure management, the subscriptions and the tenant data as well as. So this is the Azure monitoring collect the informations. So next move on the understand of the diagnostic log. You do need to the understand this as well. So every service in the Azure has its own diagnostic set, each which the set in which you can turn on or off in your many cases, and these are categories of the logs and metrics data and metric data sent to the destination defined in the setting, and the available category and different for the each resource. So if you fill up the virtual machines, you will see the different diagnostic settings that you can on or off you can increase the level of the login from say warning or error, but maybe you just want to the informational logs as well. You can turn on the informations logs that's going to the increase the amount of the storage required because you have the added more login in here. So these are diagnostic settings. They are specific to the service. I would encourage you to just know them from the Azure Virtual Machines standpoint. Now that when you turn on the virtual machines, you will turn on the agent that provide those details, logs, and then you can alert the level of the login in between. You know information and critical depending on the specific logs you are talking about. You also choose the one or more destination to send the logs. So current destination include log analytic the workspace which we have also event hubs and Azure storage as well. So this is the key point for the key monitoring solutions. We come onto the those solutions I mentioned that giving you the additional ignites. We come onto the those solutions I mentioned that to giving to additional insight to the into the service. And Microsoft includes these three core ones and more are the continually development by Microsoft. But no, this is for the sure as you are monitoring for the virtual machine. This allows us to monitoring the ability, performance and usage for your the Windows and Linux the VM at scale. And the case monitoring solutions. We come on those solutions I mentioned that giving you the additional insight into the service. And Microsoft includes these the three core ones and more continually development by the Microsoft. But know this for the your monitoring for the virtual machines. This allows use for the monitoring ability, the performance and usage of the Windows and Linux VMs at scale. And so they have the already got the dashboard and metrics and everything already there. When you go into the overview the pane of the virtual machines, you will see the lot of this. Similarly, for the container, they are all the solutions they are for the Azure Kubernetes service and for the app insight as well. This service that allows you to monitoring the ability, the performance and usage of your web applications in more detail so you can get like the transaction history. You can tell if the users are affected and you know there are response the time and thinking like that as well. So definitely be a way you know goes so definitely be a way you know goes behind the goes behind just so definitely be the way you know goes the behind just the metrics. Microsoft are trying to the provide the solutions on the top of the matrix for the you to the as well. So with that, that is the overview of the monitoring platform, and I encourage you to take a look at the browser through the some service in the Azure portal. Go into the Azure, so monitoring, and take look the around. So this is the Azure monitoring, the solutions. I'm telling again, if you want more details or you get more the practice, you will use the Azure portal, then you will get the more idea, so the knowledge and everything you will get. So the last one is the authentication method. So normally Active Directory using the authentication method. So think I think the people know that process. So the mobile apps token or calling or getting the text message. This is for using for the secure purpose. So this secure papers for this secure purpose for using the people or the office, every environment using this process currently. When you work on one office, so your lab or everything they connect with the Azure AD. When you log in the applications, you will get the code. Otherwise, you can operate that. The same thing you if you use the bank card or something, if you want to transfer some money to other, you will get the code. Then you will share it. So this is the secure way in the Azure Active Directory. So there are a lot of the secure very high levels there. So this is the basic one, the Azure Active Directory, the method, the authentication only. Uh, you can use the authentication app on your mobile. It's very helpful for the everything. You will get the for the authentication code process. Okay, so the MFA, I'm already tell that multiple factor authentications. It's process where user promote the during the signing process for the additional form for the identification, such as to the enter the code or either the cell phone or provide the fingerprint scan. So there is the multi-factor authentications. Someone asked, it is the free. So someone asking to me, it's a free. Yes, the Azure multi-factor authentication is the now free. Azure AD premium license, you can't control the authentication methods available into the people in the AD Connect. Another one, why do we need to the multi-factor authentications? It's about the access based on the multiple factors, uh, for the risk and for the password issue. For the last point, I'm not added my presentations. The privilege identity management in the Azure AD. So this privilege identity management to enables to the standing execute the access to the special privilege role to find who approach and review this privilege access. With Azure Active Directory Privilege Identity Management, you can control and monitor access inside your the organizations. So that using the you want, I'm going to end my sessions. Uh, if you need to learn or something, you need to follow the Microsoft Learning site. Then you will get more idea and more knowledge. And I'm going to the end. Whatever you want, any doubt or something, please connect this information. And thank you so much for the giving the great opportunity to me for sharing to my knowledge to others. Thank you so much.
Okay, so thanks Hadshana for the session. So as we said earlier, so this is the recorded session. So if you have any doubts, reach out to her Twitter handle. So this is her Twitter handle, Hadshana K3. So you can reach out to her if you have any doubts regarding this session. Or else, I think that there was a question from Lateep. So how to connect OneDrive API via Azure? Like you'll get the answer in the YouTube comments by Hachna. Like we'll make sure you'll get the answer. You can check out the comment section maybe tomorrow or a day. I will get the answer from her and we'll try to post it in the comment section. So next up, we have Smita. Like she'll be talking about SharePoint content classification with AI capability. So over to you, Smita. Smita, can you hear me? I think you're on mute.
Hey, hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, yes, Smita.
Yeah, good morning. So, is my screen visible?
Yeah, yes, Smita. The screen is.
Yeah, let me hide it just a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for being here for this session for using AI to classify SharePoint content with cognitive and sentiment analysis. So, today I'm here to show you three cool demos which you can use irrespective of SharePoint or any other technology by implementing AI using a cognitive and sentiment analysis. So before I start with that, let me introduce myself. So I am Smita Nachan. I am from Pune, India. I am working with Theatre Every as a lead software engineer. I am having total of 12 plus years of experience, and mostly I'm working in a SharePoint and Office 65. I am a newborn Microsoft MVP in the month of February 2021. Apart from that, I am a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm author of one book for understanding hybrid environments in SharePoint 2019. And these are some of my handlers, social handlers, by which you can just get in touch with me. So the agenda for the hour is firstly, we will have an overview of Microsoft Azure Cognitive Services, and then we will explore three major services: Computer Vision API, Custom Vision Service, and Sentiment Analysis API. So, firstly, to start with, what is mean by AI? So, AI is all about amplifying human creativity with the intelligent technology. So, whenever we deal with any kind of data around us, it is a imperfect data. So, we learn and we form the conclusion from imperfect data using some kind of reasoning, and then we use that reasoning to understand what data better, including text, voice, or images, and then we start interacting with that data in some natural ways. So this is what is meant by AI. So whenever we talked with or whenever we try to define that with Microsoft Cognitive Services, it gives us wide opportunity for us to implement the AI. So the first one is the vision, where we can understand the images and videos better. Then we have a speech, from where we can recognize the speech, speaker, and the content or the intent of that particular speech. Then we have a language, wherein we can process a text and recognize what user want to say. Then we have a knowledge, so it is again a rich knowledge from the web that you can use with your own data and then search across all kind of things. And then again, in the preview feature, we have few of the things which you want to use before the general availability of that particular feature. So for this session, we will majorly concentrate onto the vision APIs. So what vision is means, by from faces to feelings, it allows your apps to understand the images and videos better. So if we deep dive into the vision, there are many things which vision can do. So the first one is a computer vision APIs. Then we have a face APIs, and then emotion APIs, content moderator, custom vision services, and video indexer. So each of them by name defines like what do they do. So during this session, we will mostly concentrate upon the computer vision APIs and custom vision service. Those are helpful to analyze our images in some better relatives. So to start with, what is mean by a computer vision API? So it analyzes the images, understand the content within that particular image. So even we can use OCR, that is optical character recognition, to detect and recognize words within that particular image. Even we can generate the thumbnails by scaling or the images while retaining the key content inside that particular image. And then again, one beautiful thing of this is using this computer vision API, we can easily recognize these celebrities or even few of the landmarks which are already trained by Microsoft for this computer vision API. So for a quick example of how it works, so whenever we try to analyze an image, so on the left hand side we have one image of kids playing a football. So whenever we will give this kind of an image to the computer vision API, what it will do is it will analyze that particular image and it will give us some metadata about that particular image. So like in the categories it is defined that the some people is playing here, and then it has identified few of the dominant colors, background or foreground of this particular image. So this is the one example. Yeah, and over here we can just conclude that by looking at the generated caption. A young boy playing a football on the field with a confidence scores of, you can say, 94%. So let's see like how we can create our own computer vision API, how we can provide the images to it, then how it enable to analyze those images. So for that, let me go to my Azure portal. So once we are to the Azure portal, you have to click on a create resource, and then under AI plus machine learning, we will able to see all of those kind of AI functionality which are given by Microsoft Azure. So here we have a computer vision. So from here we can click on a computer vision. So it will take us to the window wherein we can create a new computer vision. So here we have to just specify the name for that particular computer vision. Once you specify the name, after that you have to select the subscription, then you have to select the location. So while selecting the location, I prefer to use a central US because it is very much old data center that we have, and it has got a very much good preview features available. So if you want to use those, then prefer to go with the central US, and then you can go ahead with the pricing. So here let me click on this pricing tier. So it explains like what kind of a functionality are available to you when you choose that particular pricing tier. So for example, if you choose a free instance, in that case you are allowed to have 20 transaction per minute, but the features are not that much. So on the other hand, if you go ahead with some kind of a paid transactions like a S1, then you can have about a 10 transaction per second, and it will help you to get the features of like tag, face, thumbnails, colors, and other things like that. So if you go ahead for few of the more features, then obviously the price will increase, but you will get some kind of more numbers of features to use. So I will not spend the time here to create a new computer vision API, but I will rather use the one which I have already created. So once you fill up that particular form, you will able to go over here to do the service or the resources that has got created. So this is how it look like. Then we have something called as API console. So once you clicked on this particular API console from here, you will able to test out the particular computer vision API. So in a nutshell, it does not contain much of the things, just that a few of the API or few of the predefined or pre-educated intelligence being offered by Microsoft Azure to analyze our images much better. So once we are to the console, then the next thing is that we should select our region under which we want to select or test our images. So here I have created my cognitive service under a region of Central US. So I will go ahead and I will select Central US. So once you are here, the next thing is we will have to provide the name of the resource which we want to test again. Okay. So let me take it from this Azure. So this is my resource name. So I want to test it. Then there are various visual features which you can test apart from, let me first mention it. Okay, so here are the various visual features that you can test apart from brands, categories, colors, and other things. So let's say you want to test out the tags, because the tags will return you most of the tags which are associated for that particular image. Then in the details, we have two things to test. The first thing is the celebrities, and the next one is the landmark. So let's go ahead and select the celebrities. Then the content type is application JSON, because we want to return or we want to get output in the form of JSON. So next thing is that we need to provide the key by which we will be able to authenticate against this API and get the result. So for that I will go to the key and endpoints, and let me select the key, and for this I have copied the keys. I will paste it over here. So now that we are ready, if you want to pass on few of the additional headers, it can be done also from here. So here is the next thing is that we need to compose the request body. So that means we can directly provide the image itself. Otherwise we can provide the URL of the image. So in this case we are going ahead with the URL of the image. For that I have already this image with me, and I don't have to explain who is he. So let's see who is he. So let me provide URL, and then let me click on the send button, so that we will get the response from it, and the response is 200. Okay, so that means the response is successful, and then it has identified that celebrity as Bill Gates. Okay, and there with the confidence score of 0.97. So that means it almost 100% sure that this celebrity is Bill Gates. And then again it gives us few of the other tags, like we have some person in this particular image. We have a human face. He is a man. He is having some kind of an clothing. He is having a microphone attached to him and the glasses. So that's really cool. So now let's see, for example, if you want to check few of the landmarks. So again for the landmarks, I have a few landmarks, and let me go and copy that URL. So again, I don't want to say what is this. Let's see what outcome comes to us when we give it. to Microsoft Azure API. So here I'm specifying the URL to the famous building in India, and then when I clicked on the send, and this will again give us the response back with 200 OK. So that means it is a successful, and it has identified that this is some kind of a building with landmarks as a Taj Mahal. So this is the famous building in India. Again, apart from that, it has given a few of the tags like there is some grass inside it, so building outer door and a few of the other things. Again, it indicates the sky and stones. So this is how it works. The computer API work. So now that I want to extend this particular API to my SharePoint, because what happens mostly is SharePoint is being mostly used for storing the content storing the images, documents, and all other things. So inside my, let me go to the SharePoint. So inside my document library, I already added one image already. So this is the place where people will keep adding the images. So they will add the image here, and I want the Microsoft Azure API to give me the cognitive tags like what are the content inside that particular image. I want Azure API to analyze the content inside this particular images. So for that, what I will do is I will click upload on the files, and I do have some of the images ready with me. So I will upload this car racing image here. So let me upload. So in the background, it will run a Power Automate or Microsoft Flow. So let me open that flow. So this is the Power Automate or Microsoft Flow that I have. So let me quickly explain what that is. So let me edit it. I will go to the details of the particular Power Automate. But on a higher level, whenever any of the image is being added to my SharePoint folder, I'm giving a call to analyze image API for the computer vision, and then I'm getting the information for the path where it has been uploaded. Once I get it, I'm again sending a request to my SharePoint and then passing that particular JSON which I got from the cognitive API, and then uploading the files property with those. So we saw like there can be a multiple tags which are being written by the cognitive services vision API. So I will just join them by a comma, and then I will add it to my SharePoint library. So it is really very much simple. So whatever kind, so whenever we upload any kind of an image to SharePoint, or even let's say to any of other data sources which you are using, we can make a call to Azure Cognitive Services Vision API, and it can return us the tag or some information about that. So right now we can see that it is following through all of the steps and all of the activity, and all the activities are done successfully. So if I go back to my SharePoint site now, it has identified these cognitive tags like a road, car, or motorcycle, and other things racing. So in a nutshell, it gives us all of the tags which can be associated with this particular image. Again, we can have this done programmatically. So let's see now like how we can do that. So for example, if you want to use this API inside your applications, so let's say if you want to use in your C sharp kind of an application, in that case, you can make a use of Vision Service client provide that with the subscription key what we created, and then we can specify the feature as maybe a description, and once it is there we can make a call to analyze image synchronously, so that by providing the URL as well as the feature which we want to extract from the particular image, and what the result is written, it will have a number of captions associated with it, and then we can get the particular caption again. If you want to selectively use the tags, in that case you can have for each kind of an the things wherein you will go to the description and go to the tags, and then if you want to look out for a specific tags, in that case you can have that kind of an logic built in inside for each. So this is how you can use this particular vision API in your C sharp application. And if you are using maybe a Power Automate or Microsoft Flow, if you want to do it programmatically inside your ASP.NET or any other kind of application, so this is how it can be used in your application. So here are the references to use this as a cognitive service, and this is some of the documentation. So the next thing is a bit complex is custom vision service. So as we saw, like the Azure Cognitive Service Vision API include a services for detecting common objects. So for example, if you upload an image of a car to the computer vision service, it will correctly identify it as a car. However, there might be some circumstances where you need to identify objects or scenarios that the particular vision services does not recognize. So there is where the custom vision services will come into the picture. While the computer vision services already trained by Microsoft to recognize common objects, it is up to you to train the custom vision services for these specific things you want it to recognize. So, for example, if you are working in kind of an industry where you have objects like a ball bearing screw, nuts, and all these things, you can upload the images of that to custom vision services. You can train that custom vision service to identify each of those objects, and whenever there will be a big picture coming into it, it will help us to identify what kind of an object that particular picture contains. So again, one example here is, let's say we want to train this particular custom vision API for Superman and Spider-Man. We can have as many numbers of pictures of Superman and Spider-Man with various backgrounds uploaded to this custom vision API. And once we upload it, we will train that particular model that okay, if this is the if this picture, then it is a Spider-Man. If the picture is something like this, then it is a Superman. So that custom vision API will get trained to identify your objects, and it will build its own model, so that whenever the next time the picture will come through the custom vision API, it will be helped to identify like what kind of an object it is. So let's say like what is mean by this custom vision service. So it is already trained by Microsoft to identify common objects and scenarios, and top of it we can also train this custom vision service for a specific things you want to recognize yourself. So we will go through one day more like how we can still make use of it. But again, the simple rule here is that we will upload the images to this custom vision service. We will train this custom vision service to analyze that particular image, and then it will apply a label on that particular image. And then after, we can evaluate the images which you want to try out. So let me show you the demo, and for that purpose let me go to the Azure portal. Okay, so I would like to show you demo for that. So again, if you want to create a custom vision API, just type in a search box custom vision API, and here is the custom vision. So once you click it, it will help you to create the custom vision. Here again, while creating, we have a two options. Uh, do we want to use it for both like training as well as the prediction? So training, the name itself suggests that we can use it to train the images or the content, and the prediction, that means the API we will use in the production environment to analyze the images better. So again, while creating this particular service, we need to choose this subscription resource group and give it a unique name. Then the next thing is that we need to specify the training resource and we need to specify the prediction resource. So the training resource, that means the location where we would like to train our resource. So again, I said maybe you can use the central US location here. Yeah. So there are two type of things. One is the training resource where you can just train your resource, and the next is the prediction resource wherein you can use this prediction kind of an environment to predict the times or the content inside the images again for the training location. So we have the few more capabilities available from the central US location once we go ahead with that. So in the pricing tier, we have a free pricing tier as well as the paid pricing tier. So in a pricing tier, it goes something like pricing for the predictions goes per thousand transactions and pricing for training goes per computer hour. That means we can have a free training for 1 hour for our model. But if you want to go beyond, you will have to pay. Then again, there is a cost associated with the image storage because we are going to upload the images to this service and apply some kind of an labeling on top of it. The image storage is priced again for 1,000 images. So this is how you can create this particular resource for the training prediction. So choose your pricing tier and once you are done, just click on the view and create. It will create the custom vision API. So I have already created the custom vision API. Just wanted to save some time on that. So let me open that resource group and here we have two things. So one is our training API. So this one is our prediction API. So each of this training and prediction service has got a different keys associated with it. So for example, if I open a custom vision API and if I open the prediction, it also got a different keys associated with it. So we will go through it like how to use and when to use. So let me go back to my slide. Yeah. The next thing is that what we will have to do is we will have to build a classifier or a project. That means we have to create a project and we will have to define a domain for what particular project and then we will need to add the images to this project. So we will assign the tags to that images and then we will train that particular classifier, and once our classified is trained, we will use that classifier to evaluate our production images. So let us start it creating the classifier. So for that again I need to go to back to Azure portal. So I will go to the prediction API and then I will click the custom vision portal. Okay. So this is something outside of the Azure portal, but again this can be used to train your resources. So from here you can create a new project. Yeah. And let me go to back my slide. So the domains it includes the general food landmarks, retail and other things because those are being specifically created for identifying by the content of a food or a landmark or a general or any other things. Okay, so now let me go back to my Azure portal. So we will have to specify the name, then the description, then we will have to specify the resource what we created in the Azure portal, and the project types can be a classification and the object detection. So the classification, that means we have a multiple tags associated with that particular image, and the object detection, that means we have a location of that particular content within that particular image. Then again we have got a classification type. So that means multi-label. that means multiple tags or image or a multi-class. That means a single tag per image. So here you can specify all these parameters, which kind of thing you want to create or you want to analyze, and just click on the create project. It will create a project for you. So once the project is created, next thing is you will have to upload the images. So again, while we create the project, upload the images, it will take a time to save that particular time. I have already created one classifier, or you can say project, and let me open this project. So wherein I have added a few of the images of Captain America, Spider-Man and Superman. And the natural things here is that whenever we look at this particular image, we have identified this as a Superman or Captain America. But when it comes to the computer programming kind of things, so the one common things which you can observe in these three characters is that they all wear their uniform, which is in color of red and blue. So for a human, it is very much easy to identify by looking at the structure or the character. But for a machine, it is just still dealing with two type of colors, that is the blue and red. So each of those, if you even see like a Spider-Man, it has got some kind of an uniform which Superman has got. So red and blue. So that means for the computer it is bit difficult to understand. Like, so wherein it is a Superman or where it is a Spider-Man. Okay. So for that we will train our model to identify this. So let me go to back to my slide. So the next thing is that we will have to train the images. So you can create the project, you will upload the images, and then you will train those particular images. So here I have already uploaded a few images by training them with a specific name, like whether it is a Spider-Man, Superman, or Captain America. The next thing is that we will have to carry out the iteration. That means we will have to train our particular classifier so that it will be able to analyze those images better. And whenever we train or retrain our classifier, it will generate a new iteration of our model. So let's see particularly how it works. So what I will do is I will add some of the more images. Let me go back. Yeah. So here I have already added a few images of the more images. So from this my folder, I will select the images of this particular Captain America and this particular, and inside this I can add my tag. So I am taking this as a Captain America since I already use this. So it comes as a, yeah, when you have to click on this train. So it comes as a direct option for me to use that tags. Otherwise, if you want to create your own tags, then in that case whenever you are creating, you can just type it and press the enter, and it will apply that particular tag. Also, let me go back to add an image. So there is option of this negative tag also. So while adding images, let us train the project. So once you try to upload the images, there is an option for this applying the negative tag onto your image. So for example, if you want to train your model, let's say for example there is a dog and that dog is maybe wearing some kind of shirt wherein we have few of the logos, and if you want to negate out all those kind of things like any of the logo or any of the specific picture, in that case you can upload that image and tag it with the negative tag, so that the AI model will not consider those particular tags while it is analyzing the image. So this is about a specific tag and a negative tag. Yeah. So I already apply this Captain America for that particular image, and I already uploaded it. So now that we got, yeah, so it is still doing this training. So we got some images of Spider-Man, some images of Captain America and Superman. Yeah. So what I will do is that I will train our model, and we have already clicked on that train button, so that it will able to analyze whether the particular something like that the ones I have loaded uploaded comes it as a Spider-Man. So again, when it comes to the training types, it got two things. One is this quick training, and then other one is advanced training. So the quick training, that means it will able to judge the image based on what we have tagged to him. Otherwise, even we can go inside advanced training more, but this advanced training mode takes maybe up to 23 to 24 hours. So in that case, you will get the charge of that particular training. If you want to have a free kind of and training, go for a quick training. So we will click this train, and then this particular image will get, or this particular classified or the project will get. So right now it is still in the training base on the modification, or based on the delta which I have uploaded. So now that it has uploaded, yeah, and let's see, let's wait. So next thing is that we need to understand the important terms here. So what is mean by precision and what is mean by recall? So the precision, that means where we classify an image, so how likely is your classifier to correctly classify that particular image. So it is called as an precision. So that means how many selected items are relevant is denoted by precision. The next thing is we have a recall. So that means out of all of the images that should have been classified correctly, how many did your classifier had identified those correct images. So that means how many relevant items are selected are being taken care by a recall factor. So let's understand these terms very much better. So again, we will take an example of Spider-Man and Superman. So let's say out the set of images what I have. So I have uploaded the images of Spider-Man and images of Superman, and I give it to my algorithm or a project or a classifier. Then I test it out with these four images, out of which two images are all of Spider-Man and two images of Superman. But now that when I upload these four images that the classifier has identified, this as a Superman, sorry, it's a Spider-Man. So ideally, that there was only two images of Superman, but even it has additionally classified two images of Superman as a Spider-Man. So what happens in that case is we have a precision of 50%, because 3 out of 6 images are predicted correctly. So in this case of a Spider-Man, and then we have a recall of 67%, because two of these three Spider-Mans are predicted correctly. So this is mean by precision and recall. So we don't have to bother too much about this, but the more number of precisions and the recall we have, it is better predictably of our classifier. So going ahead, then we can test our model, like we can upload our own images and we can see like how it behaves. So for that, maybe let's go back here in Azure portal. Yeah, and I will click on this quick test here. So here probably we can give the image URL, or we can upload from our machine. So let me upload a Superman with big red. Yes. So it is analyzing this particular image, and it is saying that this is one is the Superman with a score of 99.7. So you can say the 100% of probability. Yeah. So it is 100% of probability that it is not a Spider-Man or not a Captain America, and this is a Superman. So this has identified this particular image correctly. So let's go into some complex scenario. Now that we have trained this particular model to identify Superman, Spider-Man, and Captain America. But what about this kind of scenarios wherein, let's say, that particular Spider-Man is holding a shield of Captain America. So in this, it is a bit tricky, right? Because the character is a Spider-Man, but he is holding this shield of a Captain America. So let's see how our image prediction is predicting this particular images. So now it is saying that this score of probability of this 65.9%, it is sure that it is a Spider-Man, but still it has a doubt where this could be a Captain America because of the shield which is holding in its hand. So, okay, this is how we can train our model and get the better result. Again, for example, if I upload this particular image and train our model, like even though this particular character is a Spider-Man is holding a shield of a Captain America in his hand, he is a Spider-Man. So in that case, the next time whenever we will upload any image of a Spider-Man holding the shield of Captain America, it will say this is a Spider-Man with a probability of 100%. So let me go back to the slide. So the cool thing is that we can train this particular API in the cloud and run it anywhere. So that means we can train it in the custom vision service, but even we can deploy and run it maybe within Azure or even on a Linux or on a Docker or in any kind of things where you want. So the next thing is like whenever we run this particular classifier, it gives us the precision which was not 100%, or even that recall was not 100%. So like, then how to improve that kind of an classifier? So the best way is we should upload as many photos of the image or that particular content as we can. So for example, if I go back here and now, it is saying, if I go back to my Azure portal, yes, and let me show you. So yeah, so here for example, it is saying it is a red because in order to better analyze any of the image, the custom vision API needs at least a 50 images, but in this case per tags, so that means in this case I haven't uploaded 50 images, so I have just restricted it to uh, 20, 25, 23, 26. So still this is the one of the factor which drives this precision and recall, and not to those to 100%. So if you want to have a 100% precision and 100% recall, in that case you should upload a various images, maybe from a different angles, from a different backgrounds. Because for example, if you are using some kind of an background to analyze your images, then it might not be a good thing to try to have the picture. Yeah, you always have to try to have the pictures from the different angles and even from the various backgrounds. Even a neutral kind of backgrounds will help you to improve, but again try to upload the images, classify them based on various background from various angles, from various object sides, and then it will definitely help you to improve the classifier. So let's like have a look at the demo of it from the SharePoint perspective. So I will go back to my SharePoint site, and I have again now this one library, marvelous library created here. I have uploaded few of the images, and it has given that the character with the probability of ones, that means the 100% okay. So what I will do is I will again upload any of the file. So let's say maybe I will upload Superman here. So when we upload this particular image of a Superman, let's see like about what this one recognizes. So for that, let it upload and I will go to my flow and I will explain you. So for that purpose, again in the background, I have one flow and I will take you in a quick little. So this is in the flow which I have created for the identify the custom vision API. So whenever as a file is uploaded to a folder, we will make a call to that custom vision API and then we will get that predictions from that particular custom vision API. So we will get the first prediction because it contains the major part of example. So for example, whenever it is a 90% or whether it is 100%, so we will get only that first prediction. We will pass that JSON of the first prediction, and then we will store that tag name and the probability as a variable which we will use while we are adding that particular metadata back to SharePoint. So once those variables are analyzed from our JSON, which is written by the custom vision API, we can make a call to SharePoint back, and we will set those properties on that particular files or that particular document. So let's say it has taken place, and not sometimes, it takes sometimes. So let me do a test and run it manually. So we have done a test, so it is running. So when this is run, I will go back to my SharePoint. Okay, so right now it has identified it as a Superman, and also it is probability 1. That means the 100% it's correct. So that's a cool thing. So I've just taken a few random example of this, but for example, if you are working in maybe automobile industry or maybe in some kind of an auto industry where you have identifiable objects, in that case you can take a picture of that particular objects, train your classifier to identify those objects, and whenever you will upload image, it will help you to identify which kind of an object it is. So that one's about this custom vision API. So I want you to quickly touch base upon the other things, but before, here are a few of the references if you want to learn more about this custom vision API. So now we are coming to the last part of our session. So for the text analysis, so what is mean by text analysis? So we generally deal with some kind of an text, like for example, if the session was good, session was not good. So we have some kind of sentiment associated with our wording. So this analysis will help us to identify the positive or the negative kind of sentiments from that particular statement which we are passing on. So, the sentiment analysis is the process of detecting whether a piece of writing is positive, negative, or neutral. So, whenever we ask for any kind of feedback, and maybe even after this session, when I will ask you for the feedback, you will have maybe a positive, negative, or neutral feedback. So, in a circumstance, I don't have maybe a chance to go through each of your feedback, but I will do is I will upload this feedback back to my sentiment analysis API, and then it will directly give me a like what it is the sentiments that you people had after this session. So this is the machine learning driven text mining, and it returns the numeric score between 0 to 1. So that 0 means the negative and 1 that means the positive. So let's have a look at a demo of this text analysis. So again, for that I will go back to my Azure portal, and again if I go to create a resource, so AI plus machine learning. So once I clicked over here, so we have a text analysis. So once you click over here, this will give you a form wherein you can define your service to be created. So just name the service, select your subscription, and then select the location. And again, for the pricing tier, this varies from free to paid. So once a free, then it has got a many feature. Yeah, so like a sentiment analysis and other things, but as you go for the more detailed level kind of an analysis, the paid services will help you to get those more information, or again based on the number of transactions that you want to make, or based on the number of features that you want to utilize. So just select the better instance or the better pricing tier for your application. And then the last thing is that we will have to specify the resource group, and the resource will get created. So again, this is how that particular resource look like. So let me go back to my resource group, and there I have already created this user feedback, the resource, the resource which are created for the text analysis. So here again I can give and API console. So if I go to the, sorry, go to the API console, it has the same thing. Yeah. So let's go back to the overview. So yeah, it has the same thing. So let me go back to the overview. So here again, this particular resource has been created in the central US location. Yeah. So we will have to again select the same central US. Apart from here, the same thing like we have did for this computer vision API, we will have to specify the name here, and then we will have to specify the key and the request body which we provide. Yeah, it will help us to detect whether it is a positive response, negative response, or whether it is a neutral response. So I will not run through this because this is the same as we did for the computer vision API, but rather I will go back to my SharePoint site where I can add some text. So here is the list I have created. So I have a user feedback. So let's say I can create a new item here for the session feedback. And for that purpose, I have one more flow, that is a Power Automate running in the background. Yeah. So till the time I click on this save, let me go to this flow and let me open that flow. So again, this is a very simple Power Automate flow. If I edit this, so whenever a new item is get created into my SharePoint list, um, we are again making a call to the text analysis API in Azure, and then we are getting the feedback, or we are passing in the feedback which was given, and then we are getting the response back from this sentiment analysis. And once we get that particular response back, we are adding that particular sentiment score back to our SharePoint item, so that we can identify whether it is a positive, negative, or neutral feedback. So let me run this flow and check the results in a SharePoint list. It is still running. So once it's run successfully, we can go back to our SharePoint and we can just check the how much percentage it has given for our recent record we have added. Yeah, so now you can see the score of 0.94, so that's good. So this is how we can analyze the text being given by your, maybe from a customer, maybe any of the product review. So from those we can easily identify like whether it is a kind of a positive feedback, negative feedback, or a neutral feedback. So this is how this machine learning algorithm will help you to carry out the text analysis. Let me go back to my slide. So again, I have a few references here which I will encourage you to go through if you want to use it in your application. Yeah, and that's it. I'm done for a session. Thank you so much for attending this session. Yeah, and again, one thing is the last thing is if you want to classify your content in a SharePoint. So over here, some of the things you can just classify your content, include text and images with this computer vision API, custom vision service, and sentiment analysis API. Yeah, so thank you. So these are my some of the handlers by which you can just get in touch with me if you have any further queries.
Okay. Um, Thanks, Smita. I think that was a very detailed session. The demos are very good. So thanks for that. So till now, there are no questions. So maybe if you have any questions, just reach out to her in Twitter. So this is her Twitter
Yes, yes.
handle, Smita Nachan. You can reach out to her if you have any doubts. So once again, thanks, Smita. So thanks for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for the joining. Have a nice weekend. Take care. Stay safe.
Okay, so I think we came to the end of the session. So if you have any doubts regarding these two sessions, you can reach out to them with the respective Twitter handles. And uh, so uh, so if you want to, we have a meetup group. So if you want to join, you can just go to this link, meetup.com/talkify community, and you can just join this group. So as Sundaram mentioned earlier, like we conduct events every month, second Saturday. We focus on Microsoft technologies, and as well as we have a community focused on Angular. So we do events on fourth Saturday of every month. So you can just join this group. You can get the events. You can get the updates of our future events. So you can just go to this link, and if you click join, you'll get the updates. So once again, I thanks to all the speakers and attendees, for making this happen. So thanks everyone, and stay safe and keep supporting us. Thank you.